Hey, welcome in, welcome back to Friday Night Arcade. I am Aaron, and today, insert Buckazoid, we're going to be playing one of my all-time favorite games. Oh, Space Quest 3, The Pirates of Pestilon. Space Quest 3. What can I say about this game? This was made by Sierra Online back in, all the way back in 1989. And if you follow this channel for more than 5 minutes, you're probably well aware of my unhealthy love affair with this game. This was, it seems like every year I end up revisiting this game. This October marks the 3rd year that Friday Night Arcade has been on the YouTubes. And those of you that were there since the beginning, you remember Space Quest 3 was actually the first video I ever did. And then I revisited it last year in a live stream, and that was a lot of fun. And this year, I thought it'd be fun just to go ahead and do, just kind of do a chill, let's play, kickback walkthrough of the game. This isn't gonna, I'm not necessarily going for like 100% completion or anything like that. This is just kind of a leisurely stroll down memory lane with Space Quest 3. I'm not gonna, it's not necessarily gonna be a boring, this is how to beat Space Quest 3. It's not going to be like that. I am going to show some different things that you could do in the game, just to kind of keep it interesting. I mean, I could get through this game probably in an hour, hour and a half with my eyes closed if I had to, but I'm going to stop along the way and just kind of look for some different things. It seems like every time I play this game, I end up stopping and looking at something that maybe I didn't notice before. I'm always still, even to this day, 20-some years later, I'm always still trying to find something new, because I remember just being completely awestruck by this game when I was a kid. This was one of the first kind of big adventure games that I used to play. Those of you that remember, I mentioned this in the video a while ago, you know, in the first video, but my main experience up to this point with computer games was text adventures. Games like Moon Mist and Adventure, Zork, stuff like that. Games where it literally was just white text on a black screen, and it would say something like, you'd have to type in like go north or go west, and you know, very specific commands. It really required you to use your imagination. So when this game came into my radar, and I got a chance to play it first at my cousin's house. You know, it combined the aspects of a text adventure and, ooh, wait for it. The small pod is jarred by a sudden shock which triggers the sleep chamber's revive mode. As the glass shroud slides back, Roger slowly begins to regain consciousness. Wait for it, wait for it. You're about to have your mind blown. You're about to have your mind blown. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Wait for it. Oh, he's peeking around. He's looking. He's looking. To the left. To the right.
Where am I?
Oh shit! Where am I? that blew my mind when I was a kid, having that digitized audio voice in a game. That might have been the first time I heard of a voice used at all in the game. But yeah, this was one of the first times that I got to play a text adventure that had actual graphics. So having the graphics, but still also having to kind of use your imagination and type in different commands. It wasn't just as obvious as, you know, run to the right and kill anything that moves like a Nintendo game, you know, or a platformer or something like that. You know, it actually required some thought and some puzzle solving that went into it. And, you know, I think that's something that's lost maybe in games today, where they just kind of hold your hand through the game. In a game like this, you might die 100 times before you get anywhere in the game. You could save it, certainly. In fact, we could even just do that right now. So I mentioned a little bit earlier about the sound of this game, and you'll probably notice that the sound sounds amazing. There were when you were gaming on PCs in the 80s, there were several different ways that you could get sound out of your computer game. You could use, you might be able to do like the internal speaker or some sort of, you know, sound card, or you could use a different, the main one that everybody probably considers to be one of their favorites is like the Roland sound synthesizer. And, you know, that's great if you have a computer from the 80s and you have actual Roland hardware, which is incredibly expensive and difficult to find in full working order. You know, if you buy this game on Steam today, you're gonna download it, and it's probably gonna come with what they call DOSBox, which is literally just kind of a DOS emulator. It emulates MS-DOS, which was used to play a lot of these games back in the day, and that's great. But the MS-DOS, the DOSBox emulator, the sound, it's not the best way to hear the sound from these games on a modern PC. So what I'm using to play this is a little thing called ScummVM. And that gives you the true Roland polished sound effects that you want to get out of some of these old, especially like these old Sierra games, Space Quest, King's Quest, games like that. It's not compatible with every DOS game, but it's compatible with a lot of the ones that you're probably, the ones where you're really going to be concerned about what the music sounds like. So I'm going to have links to all that in the description below. So, you know, that'll have links and instructions for how to get that going. So you buy the game, and then instead of playing it through DOSBox, you play the game files through ScummVM, and you'll get there's some tweaking that goes into it. I'm not going to get into all that here, but that is the proper way to play it. Okay, now Space Quest 3. What the hell's going on in this? As you may or may not know, you play as Roger Wilco, the hapless janitor that just kind of always finds himself in the wrong place at the wrong time. And as you saw in the opening cutscene there, you were still in an escape pod from the end of the previous adventure, Space Quest 2, and you awake to find yourself on this garbage freighter. And the object at this point is basically just to find a ship to get off of this garbage freighter. So you have to find a fully working ship and find everything you need to get it going, and then get off of the garbage freighter somehow. So the way you do that is you go around and you basically just explore, and then you can type in text commands such as so see, there's an Acme rocket here up in the middle of the screen, and Acme probably sounds familiar if you've ever watched Looney Tunes at all, and you probably recognize this ship down here in the corner as a TIE fighter. There's all sorts of pop culture and science fiction references just littered throughout the Space Quest series, and that's why it's one of my favorite video game franchises ever. It doesn't really take itself too seriously, and it kind of plays fast and loose with all sorts of these crazy pop culture references. So let's see if we can look at the ship. This bulbous craft looks like it has seen a lot of action in its day. You believe it to be a Bowtie fighter dating back to the Clone Wars, a true relic. So yeah, so you know, it's a little cheesy. It's a little cheesy, but it's a little you know, it's fun. Let's see. Let's try to look at this one and see what it says. This ship is another fine but worthless Acme product. Yes, because yeah, I don't know how the hell Acme stayed in business. And let's see what this one says. Look at ship. This ship says Jupiter 2. This baby must have been floating around out there for a long time. It doesn't hold your interest for very long. And I never could figure out when it says that, when it says it doesn't hold. I didn't know if that was intended to be kind of a slight at the show Lost in Space. If you remember, the Jupiter 2 ship was from the TV show Lost in Space, and I don't know. I always thought that show was dumb as hell. I don't know. What did you think? I need a completely unscientific poll from the audience here. What did you think of Lost in Space? Worth it or no? Also, you'll notice this game kind of runs a little slow, so we can actually change the speed. If we go, so let's see. So yeah, I think 1 is the fastest. Now he's gonna, oh shit, oh god, what's that? Oh, no. It's okay. I'm on a conveyor belt and I'm being transported very quickly towards garbage disposal unit. So first I gotta stand up. It's like, okay, stand, and I'm actually gonna, I'm gonna go ahead and show you what happens when you die here. Just for poops and giggles. I'm going to, if I can, if it'll work, I'm going to save, I'm gonna save the game, and I'm gonna show you what happens when you end up falling into the garbage compactor unit. And not a pretty sight. Shredded like an Iran-Contra document, your many independent parts flutter to the bottom of the hopper. You're a less than choice cut, Wilco. Aw, he's ground beef now. So you kind of get the idea here. It's a lot of trial and error with this game, and with these types of adventure games. You die a lot, so they're very liberal with the save feature. You can pretty much just save wherever you want. You do have to be careful with that, though, because you don't want to save it in a situation where you want to make sure. Usually by the time I get done with these, I end up having 2 or 3 saves going at once, that in case I need to backtrack a little bit. If you end up saving in a situation where, you know, maybe you're trapped in a place where you can't get out, or the timing is such to where you can't escape. So I am going to jump. Whee! Okay. So now we can walk around a little bit and see what we find in this garbage freighter. So if we keep walking to the left, we're gonna see there's this robot, and there's this machine down here. What could that be? Now, we could look. It says, in this room, the rail makes a U-turn. There is a machine here which hangs under the rail. There is a chute at the bottom. In the middle are panels of monitoring devices being tended to by a droid. Look at the droid. It's not a model you've seen before. The droid appears to be dedicated to this workstation. It seems harmless enough. I'm gonna bet it's not, though. So let's save it again. So maybe if we get on the grabber, plopping into the seat, you grasp the forward-backward control of the grabber. Maybe if we get on this. Ooh. Maybe if we get on this, maybe he can see us now. Will you talk to us? Will you say hello? Hello, Mr. Droid. Hello. Hello, sir. Hello. He's coming. He's coming. Oh, no, he shot me. You really hit the beam, Buckwheat. And there's that lack of regard for organics in action again. I guess they never heard of the warning shot concept around here. Anyway, you're dead. So you get the idea. You die a lot, and if you don't know how to get through this game, again, I could probably get through this game in under an hour if I was really pressing myself here. But I kind of just wanted to give you an idea of what this is like. A hole in one. And look, like, that's a big deal. This game wasn't rated by the ESRB. I don't even think that was a thing at the time. That didn't pop up until the 90s. I mean, this totally has blood in it. Hope you enjoy your new flow-through ventilation system. Okay, so let's try this one more time. All right, so we're going to get on the grabber, and we're going to leave this room because that droid's not very nice. That droid has clearly established himself as a complete dick, and we're going to move forward. Now, since I already kind of know what to do, I'm just going to show you. If we push the button on the grabber, it's going to release a little automated picker-upper. Basically, it's kind of like those stupid games that you used to play in the arcade where you had to try to pick up the teddy bear with the little flimsy claw. Those little stupid claw games. It's kind of like that. But this one actually works. Now, what I just picked up there was a warp motivator. I don't know what the hell a warp motivator is, but I know that we need one in order to get the ship working that we need. As you notice, there was a couple other wrecked ships earlier that we saw. I already know that none of those work, so if we keep riding on the grabber, we go all the way around here. All right, now if we push the button again, aha! Sensing an adequate surface, the claw releases its cargo and begins the ascent to the grabber unit. The object thuds into place within the cavity of the ship. So that's the ship we want, the one in the middle. So, head back over here. And again, this is one of those things where if you didn't know that, you'd spend 2 hours looking around. You can get to that ship on foot. And what ends up happening is if you get to that ship on foot and you try to start it, it tells you there's a computer on board that tells you, hey, you know, you don't have a warp motivator, so you can't run the ship. And there's a couple other parts that we need to get as well. Fortunately, you come to a relatively soft landing in a pile of debris. So these rats. All right, so this room, we're going to. There's actually a generator over here. If we look at wires, I think it'll tell us. Some brittle-looking wire runs from lamp to lamp and then disappears into a hole to the left. Okay, so what happens if we look in the hole? You peer into the small opening and notice a tiny reactor which seems to be providing power for the lights. All right, so let's take the reactor. So, and again, you'd have to, you know, if you're playing this for the first time and you're trying to find a reactor for your ship, how the hell would you know that reactor's there? You know, you'd have to be standing in this room and looking around, and you'd have to kind of stop and think, okay, there's these lights and there's these wires. Clearly there's some sort of power source here, but it really pushes you to problem solve and try to find your way out. So we'll climb this ladder and we'll end up, oh, hey, I know this place. We've been here before. All right, so we walk up here and we'll just walk up through this little tunnel, and we're just walking along and blah, blah, blah. I love reactors, blah, blah. Hey, what the, hey, you son of a, pow, biff, blam. So it was those those damn rats mugged us. And if we look in our inventory now, we find that we no longer are carrying the reactor. Well, fuck. So we gotta backtrack. We gotta do it again. This time the rats are not there. If we go back, take the reactor. Aha! Now, climb the ladder again. And this time we're gonna actually take the ladder. You grab the ladder and jam it in your pocket. Ouch! So right now, in our pockets, we're holding a ladder and a reactor. It doesn't really make sense, but that's okay. So we're gonna head back this way, and we're gonna head back to the right again. And again, this is one of those situations where I already know what's gonna happen, so I'm just gonna go ahead and save us the trouble. Once you get to the ship and you hook up the warp motivator and you try to hook up the reactor, you get there and you almost get it, and then one of the wires is too short, so you end up having to backtrack again and look for the wires. So we can take these wires, take the only decent piece of wire available. Now we can proceed. Now this part is this part's tricky. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, this part's tricky only because if you fall off the side here, whoa! Oh gosh, you've stepped off a metallic escarpment and tumbled into the darkness. Twisted, jagged remnants of old vehicles reach out to slow your dark descent, cutting short your life in the process. I love that graphic. That is... I love that graphic. That is so wrong. It wouldn't be so bad except for the sudden stop at the end. Next time, don't get so close to the edge, Wilco. Alright, so let's try this again. Alright, this time, let's see if I can do this. If I can do this without turning the speed back down. Aha! Take that. Okay, so if we go around, and yeah, this ship actually, this ship probably looks familiar to some of you as well. this was the pod that they used. I think it was in 2001, Space Odyssey. So if we look at this, it's a cute little thing. You've never seen anything like it in these pods, but then where are these parts? Some writing on its exterior reads, "For a good time, don't call Hal." That's funny. All right, so I'm gonna use the ladder, climb to the top. And yes, it is possible to fall off this thing. So I'm going to very carefully. Aha! Okay, so if we open the hatch, you move into position, and grabbing the dull finish of the hatch's handle, commence to open and enter the ship. Okay, so now we've got our very own ship, but we've got to get it running. So we've got to, first we got to use the reactor. So drop the reactor into the hole. In attempting to reconnect the cables, you find that one is much too short. Aha, we got it covered. So we use the wires, put that in, close that up, use the computer. It's going to tell us a bunch of crap. It's going to kind of cycle through here. So yeah, you know, how would you know to find all that stuff? Well, the only way you'd know, I mean, and this was, 1989. This was before walkthroughs and YouTube and all that other crap. We just had to figure this out ourselves. It was my cousin and I. I was, 9 years old, something like that. My cousin was 10. Looks like this bird's in good shape. We literally went through this whole thing on our own with no tip books, no help whatsoever from the outside. We just had to think our way through this. So this was an entire probably a summer. Any day that it was raining and we didn't get kicked outside, we were trying to figure out how to play Space Quest 3. So if it seems like I know my way through this way too well, it's because I had to figure this out the hard way. So if we sit and then we use the computer up here, now this part gets a little tricky. Now, if you've seen the video that I did of this the first time, you'll know that there's a wrong way to do this. First thing we got to do is we got to turn our radar on. Okay. And then, if you don't turn your radar on and you try to take off, you'll end up flying right into the edge of the ship, the garbage freighter, and you'll die. So, you got to turn the radar on. You got to throttle up the engines. You wait a little bit, and it's going to take off. You got the option. Go ahead and take off. I love this part. You feel a strong rumbling as the ship strains to loosen itself from the confines of junk heap accumulated at its base. Finally, it begins to rise. Oh, there was even a little bit of parallax scrolling there. Did you see that? The ship rises several meters, then stops abruptly. An alarm from the computer attracts your attention. That is the radar. So, now, we can either land again, or we can fire up the weapons system. We notice that's lit up. So, what you have to do here is you have to put your front shields on by pushing the F button, and then fire. The shot blasts a new orifice in the side of the junk freighter. Boom. The pressure generated by the desire of the ship's atmosphere to escape to the considerably lower pressure of space causes your ship to be spit out like a watermelon seed. And then you beat the game. No, no. And now we've got our own ship. We've got some supplies here. And now we're ready to play Space Quest 3. And I think that's a good stopping point for now. So tune in next time, and we will travel across the cosmos in our newly found spaceship in Space Quest 3, the Pirates of Pestilon. Thank you for watching, and thank you so much for checking out the channel. If you enjoyed this, please feel free to like the video or shoot me a message. Let me know your experiences with playing Sierra games, maybe as a kid growing up, or maybe you're just now rediscovering these games. I'd love to hear what you think about these games and your experiences with playing them. So shoot me a message in the comments below. Until next time, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Friday Night Arcade. Stay frosty.